Aye.
Aye.
All right, today I'm going to give you a speech on drug addiction. All right, first of all, I'm going to start off with is an attention getter. All right, everybody put themselves in the mindset of a high school student. A high school student wakes up from a long night of studying. In a few hours, they're about to take that SAT test. Unfortunately, they feel like they're a little unprepared due to the fact that their parents have been arguing all night, and they feel like they haven't been able to focus. Morning arrives and they walk down the hall wondering. A fellow student asks how they're feeling. That's the trigger right there. They're tired, they're stressed out, and he responds that he or she's okay. Then suddenly the fellow student offers something that will guarantee a sense of feeling really good. Reluctant yet curious, the student opens their hand to accept a small pill. It is ecstasy. Right there is a trigger. 1 year passes. That same student has now dropped out of high school, lives with a group of strangers, and now addicted to heroin. I'm sure we all have heard stories similar to this one. Sadly, this is a story of all ages, races, and gender. As we said, addiction does not discriminate. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit of credibility of myself. Hello, my name is Brian Todd. I'm a son to a previous alcoholic, and I also have a brother that died from a car crash due to the fact that he was intoxicated. I also have a mother-in-law that died because she was a drug abuser. She was addicted to drugs. Never an addict myself, I know all too well that the disease ruins lives and devastates people's relationships. This topic is important to me because I've not only witnessed the evils of addiction, but realize its consequences that can result in death, that I've explained to you earlier. This is a personal matter as well as a social problem. My thesis statement and position, as having encountered the results of addiction through my own family, I hold that our society is responsible for the support in this matter through means of counseling within church and family involvement. Addiction will decrease. The previous statement I have is further I validate my claim and prove the thesis through 3 main points, which I'll show you today. I'll investigate the problem with addiction. That's going to be my main point 1. My main point 2 is going to be then address the causes. And lastly, the main point 3 is I'll provide a solution or way to mitigate addiction. Alright, my main point 1 today is going to be the definition of addiction. The fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. By definition, we can see that addiction is not only substance related, but it's also related to things or a certain activity. The problem with addiction is also can be a threefold system, which it alters, inhibits, and spreads throughout your family and throughout your individual body. The definition of alter is change or cause to change in character or composition, typically in a comparatively small but significant way. That's how you're altering yourself and your family and your bodies. Okay, a couple of little statistics that we have is crack cocaine users and other drug users were significantly more likely than non-drug users to have been born in the United Kingdom of white or black, Caribbean ethnic origin, homeless, alcohol abusers, or have a history of imprisonment. And this came from the CDC, which is Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Another statistic that we have is among crack cocaine users, diagnosis showed that 86% were smear positive, compared with 36% of patients not known to use drugs. Tuberculosis analysis by the same thing, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. All right, the definition that we have is inhibited, this is a good definition. Hinder, restrain, or prevent an action or process. And here's, as you can see, the illustration that we have. And behavior in blood alcohol and drugs that alter the brain's reward pathway. Definition for spread is the fact or process of spreading over an area. Alright, next main point that we're going to go over is the cause of addiction. Main point 2 is also threefold. This cause ranges from generic, biological trait, and a person's environment. Genetics. And genetics is our makeup that we have from our family, from different family trees and our family generations. Biology, and this is coming from the University of Utah Genetic Science Learning Center. Picture. As you can see, the reward pathway is responsible for driving our feelings, motivation, reward, behavior. Also picture, as you can see. Drugs work over time to change the reward pathway and affect the entire brain, resulting in addiction. Environment. This is coming from the University of Utah Genetic Science Learning. Statistics show that if a person's community has favorable attitudes toward drug use, firearms, and crime, their risk is going to be highly increased. Okay, and our last main point is we're going to go over the solution for addiction. In my personal opinion, is also threefold. First, we must explore the root of the problem. And once we have explored it and we find out what the problem is why the individual uses it. This is on either a psychological level or a psychological one. Physiological level or a psychological one. Second, we must provide an outlet in society for current potential addicts to go for help. And lastly but not least, the third, we alleviate some of the environmental factors with consistent assistance. So what I'm saying in conclusion is also, we'll talk about results. 25%, 74 of 292 individuals have had at least one relapse. And statistics like this are common. So, in conclusion, in summary addiction is a problem that has many causes. Sometimes finding the source or root of addiction can be difficult. Our society as a whole must be equipped to approach it in a unified manner. So we got to work as a community and as a family to help this out. Call to action 1. We feel that our community, family, and church environments all work as a team to confront this deadly disease. We might be better to help prevent it as a young individual before it grows up into a big problem. Parents must be in constant communication with their children's teens. Churches must serve one another, and our community must demonstrate a zero tolerance towards substance abuse. And that is my opinion, and that is the statistics opinion on how we went into it. And as you can see within the charts that we talked about, the receptors, all the different type of drugs, of how it relates to the individual and how it becomes as an individual problem and goes into a family problem.